What's
Mhm.
this you found? This is interesting.
Ugh, I don't even know how to, like, express this. Um, so I found this article, that was talking about, um, the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who, and they were talking about
Ooh.
Doctor Who. I mean, something we haven't talked about in a really long time, right?
Yeah, right.
Our Time Lord. Um, so yeah, so they were talking about the uh the guessing game of who's gonna play the Time Lord after Jodie Whittaker.
Mhm.
And there's some rumors going around that it could be Hugh Grant.
Hugh. Hugh Grant.
And I can't with this.
Really? Okay. Alright.
I mean, this just feels like celebrity
Desperate?
stunt casting.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I mean, and I don't mean I don't like Hugh Grant, and I don't
Mhm.
think he's
Okay.
a bad actor. He's really
I'm
done
gonna
a
text Hugh
range.
right now and tell him that you
Yeah,
got a
right.
problem with him.
He
My
so
opinion anyway.
cares. He's
Yeah.
waiting. He's
Mhm.
waiting to read my review and my opinion. Um, but yeah, I don't like this. The whole substance of this article, is talking about like Russell T Davies coming back and,
Yep.
expanding and like Doctor Who's going to be this sort of Marvel like franchise series and Hugh Grant's going to helm it, and I'm like I I hate all of these words being put together.
Yeah.
I really do. I
Yeah.
really do. That's not what
Mhm.
Doctor Who is. And I think it's what's wrong with the show now. It's gotten too big for itself. It's got too much money, it's got too much effects, it's got too much like of that weird pressure of like do the bigger, better, cooler storyline, story arcs. What can the TARDIS do? What can the Doctor do? Like I just feel like what it really needs to do is shake all that off and go back to the root of its story. And this is nothing of what I want to see in Doctor Who. There's nothing wrong with Marvel. I love Marvel. I love like their whole universe, but I
Well, I
want
will contradict you on there is
well,
nothing
okay, I
wrong
don't
with
I don't mean
Marvel. I
that
will
literally. I just mean in general
you
there's nothing wrong
you
with
enjoy a lot of
enjoying.
Marvel.
Yes,
Yes.
there's nothing wrong with enjoying the Marvel universe for what it is and what they're building, doing a great job, but that doesn't mean I want everything to be like Marvelized.
Yeah.
And especially a show like this. And so this from top to bottom just feels like wrong directions.
I was talking to Ashley a little bit the other day about, like, distilling down some of the problems of Hollywood,
Mhm.
and, like, one thing in particular, obviously this is BBC, not Hollywood, I guess, but,
Right.
um, it's just comes to this this insatiable greed that makes everything vanilla.
Mhm.
So you have it's insatiable greed guised in moral supremacy that creates vanilla blah for everything. So you
Mhm.
have like if you have a show A and they'll do their research and they'll see their the viewership and they're like, okay, here's the demographic that this show is catching on with. This is
Sure.
the demographic that is most watching this show, and then it breaks down other demographics that are a much smaller percentage.
Mhm.
And like, we need more people on this. We have the demographic that's maybe very passionate and very interested in this show, but that's not enough. We have to appeal to a wider audience. That's not enough. We need to appeal to a wider audience.
Mhm.
That's not enough until everybody can be happy. And you know how you make everyone happy? You don't. You don't make everyone happy. And occasionally you hit the sweet spot where a ton
Right.
of people are happy.
Right.
But mostly what you start doing is watering down something that would be very design designed for someone very specific. I
Right.
talk about Japanese culture a lot. Like there are a
Mhm.
million subgenres of manga because they're not afraid to target demographics. and accept that with the budget they're putting into it, that if they hit with that demographic, that they will be a success.
Right. It's golden. Yeah.
Right. Now that same company will make books for other demographics.
Mhm.
And then if they're a hit with that demographic, it's a success.
Mhm.
Hollywood is so afraid to do this. They can't be like, we want to target 18 to 30-year-old white women.
Mhm.
And this is who we think is going to most likely watch this. And then
Mhm.
if it does well with that audience, they're
That's
not
enough.
happy with that.
Yeah.
They need more. They know
Yep.
we need to get everyone in and it's like you're different people things can resonate with, and that's fine. And you
Mhm.
can have like not everyone is going to appreciate the tragedy of Macbeth that we just watched. There's
Mhm.
probably a specific audience that ended up watching that, and we're probably
Mhm.
not it, honestly. Like we're probably not in the typical demographic that's enjoying the film.
Yeah, I'm probably an outlier in that demographic.
Right. Right. And that's great. Like we watched Jujutsu Kaisen. It's designed for young men. It's really what it is. Ashley loves it. Loves that show.
Mhm.
It's fine. She's an
Yeah.
outlier. Doesn't matter. Hollywood is incapable of being okay with this line of thought. And
Mhm.
we're going to get everything that just is blah because once you make it for everybody, it's designed for nobody. And
Which is really why I feel sequels have such problems because that's what they do. Like you usually have a first movie that feels targeted, like it's, like a little broad. There's moments where they're like we could like open it up a little and see who we catch, but it's really focused. And then that's where sequels usually stumble is like, "Oh my god, everybody loved that somehow." Like let's
yeah,
do that, but like broaden to catch these people by design.
yeah,
And that's what sequels usually get a bad rap for, is because they're so like, oh, like that wasn't as funny and that was like watered down and that was more like bland than whatever, the first
yeah.
movie did.
You lose artistic integrity
Mhm.
because when you maybe wrote that initial thing, maybe it came from someplace that, something inspired you. And so it
It was
naturally
less
became
about
what it was.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
less about the success or your audience maybe,
Yeah.
in terms of financial, I mean, it was
Right.
still probably about your audience, but it was more like, I really wanna appeal, and I hope they like it, and they hope they enjoy it rather than, like, I hope they enjoy it and spend money on it. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? I mean, I know at some point everything breaks down to money, but I just feel like it's just a degree less usually in your first iteration of something.
Hmm.
It's just a little bit more about making that well and having people like it, that target demographic like it rather than like just being a broad commercial success.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Well, I
no.
mean, Doctor Who, we'll see.
Oh, yeah, I'm
I,
sorry. I just
no,
hate everything that happened in that article. I
I,
really
it's,
do.
it's Doctor Who is another one of those franchises that's just dead to me. Like, if it comes back
With
and it's
this,
amazing, it's just
with
so this was the nail and coffin potentially for you. It's like if they go in this
yes.
route,
Yes, especially when they were like, he's coming back to Marvelize it. I was like, "No, I'm
yeah,
out. I'm out so hard." I mean, there was a sliver of a chance I could have given to Hugh Grant, but no, not now. Not now that like this is the direction they're choosing to go.
you know, it, and it's like I get some people, it's like my thing where I overreact with Star Wars or whatever. I get the idea that, well, okay, so you don't like the sequel trilogy, but then you can like all the, you like Mandalorian, you can like Book of Boba Fett, you can
Mhm.
like whatever other things,
Yep.
But when the damage done, if you care about something like the integrity of a world, when the damage is done to the integrity of the world, there's
Mhm.
things you can't you can't come back from. Like
Mhm.
you wrote that. That's what happened now. Now,
Mhm.
if that's a grievous enough thing, you've damaged the rest of the world. Like some people are very excited about a return of a certain character towards the end of the Book of Boba Fett. If you haven't
Mhm.
seen it, I won't say who it is or whatever.
Mhm.
But I'm like, no, you already wrecked that character.
Mm.
That character is a dead character in my book.
Mhm.
So I don't care if they show him doing something cool now.
Mhm.
It's too late.
Yep.
And so Doctor Who is kind of like that. Some of the revelations in the tail end of, I guess, what's been happening in Whitaker's line is beyond the pale. You've
Yep.
changed the canon and the backstory and the meaning of everything too
Yep.
much that you can't go forward now and look at
Mhm.
it the same
Mhm.
unless they do some sort of desperate retconning thing like
Mhm.
they attempted to do in Star Wars Episode 9,
Right.
and that, in my book, failed miserably. Again, it
It
just looks
really
desperate.
did. It really did.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I feel like is happening here. This is just it's so they're like taking this horrible mess and like seeing if they can just like push it to the extreme to make it better. Do you know what I mean? Like
mhm.
they're just like taking it and running with it and like maybe it'll get better this way if we like go harder at it and
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
No. So I'm highly disappointed by that news. And again, nothing personal against Hugh Grant. He's a fine actor. I've watched him both be comedic and serious and do both well. But this is not his vehicle, and Russell T Davies like marvelizing it is not the solution. So bye.
Alright.